I'm curious, who here set goals for this year of 2026? Did anybody set themselves some goals? Okay. Not just dating goals, like generally, fitness goals, business goals, financial goals, relationship goals. Just you guys or anybody else? Okay, interesting. So no goal setting. For me, setting goals has always been a huge thing. I've loved it. So I have a tradition with Jordan, my younger brother, who a lot of you guys already met. We, at the end of every single year, will sit down and record each other sharing each other's goals. So for me, I like to break my goals down into 4 main categories: physical, professional/financial, relationship, so relational, social, and then spiritual and emotional. And then I'll have very specific targets that I'm moving towards that he has his goals, I have my goals. And it's a way for us to just reflect back over the journey, right? It's a lot of fun for us to go back to like 2018 or 2017 when we first started this and see the transformation that we went through. And, did we achieve our goals? Did we not achieve our goals? It's like, a fun thing that we do. On top of that, I also every month set very specific goals for myself in every area of my life that will then kind of plug into my bigger goals. So what do I need to do in January, in February, in March, in April, and so on and so forth to achieve my bigger 2026 goal? It's like, when you're running a business, let's say you have a goal of making $100 million in a year, you can't just do, let's say, 100,000 in January and then hope that things are gonna start to ramp up, right? You have to have very specific targets that you're hitting, not just in business, but in every area of your life. Obviously, here we're gonna talk specifically about dating and relationships. On top of that, what I like to do is every single night, I have a routine that I started a few years ago. I write down how my day went in these 4 categories. What were the wins? What were the failures? Did I move forward? Did I self-sabotage? And I don't judge myself. I just write these things down. Why do you guys think I do that? Why is that powerful to every day journal how your day went within the framework of the 4 goals that you're moving towards?
Accountability and awareness.
For sure. Awareness and accountability. Yeah?
Focus.
Data, yeah, totally. One of the easiest ways to not hit your goals is to just be in the dark, right? Just operate in the blindness, moving through day to day, not knowing, am I moving towards my target? Am I not moving towards my target? So most people, and I'm kind of calling out some of you guys here, don't have specific concrete goals. And that's a problem, because if you don't have specific goals, you're just reacting to life. You're like a leaf that's being blown around in the wind, right? You don't want that. You don't want to the wind carries me here, the wind carries me there. No, you want to know where you're going. You don't want to just be like a ship just floating around the middle of the ocean. But I realized along my personal development journey that it's not just about having goals, it's about having the right goals. Would you guys agree? Because if you have the wrong goals, you could be moving in the wrong direction. You could be taking massive action. You could be super consistent, but you could just be flying the wrong way. And what I've personally found is that, I've had a lot of goals in my life. Let's talk about dating, okay? My first big goal in dating was to lose my virginity. Then it was to hook up with as many attractive girls as possible, right? I literally went to the ends of the earth to rack up my lay count. That was all I cared about back in the day, right? I was getting into this. I had this complete void and desperate need for validation, and I just chased it through women. I was like, the more girls I could close, the more girls I can pull, the more worthy I am as a man, right? And that's all I did. And I had some success with that. Then it became about having a little bit more consistency, right? Because a lot of the girls that I was hooking up with, quote unquote, pulling, they weren't sticking. Like they would just come over and then ghost me. So it was like, okay, how can I get to a point where I have what's called a rotation, right? A couple girls in my life. That was the goal. Eventually I got to a goal where I was like, okay, I don't want a rotation. I want like a really pretty girlfriend. And it's interesting because I actually hit all these goals by like 25, 26. I'm gonna be 31 in a couple weeks. So I hit all these goals a while ago. But the problem is that despite hitting all these goals, they came with a massive price tag. Huge price tag. I was numb inside. I felt totally broken. I felt empty. If a girl ended up going home with me, I felt incredible, right? I felt like I was on opium. If I wasn't getting success, I felt like I was at the lowest low. So everything was so validation based, right? Success, massive high, even a little bit of rejection, massive crushing low. So that was my experience, okay, for a long time. And the reason why, there's a lot of components to why this is going on, but a huge one is because my goals were all superficial. They're all external. They had no depth, they had no weight to them. And what I figured out is that the best goals, the most powerful goals, are internal goals. They're holistic goals. They're goals that are not related to what you have or what you do, but they're based on who you are. That is where the magic really happens. So the last couple years, since I've had this epiphany, my goal shifted from like, get this, achieve this, to who do I actually need to become to attract the things that I want, right? They became being-based goals. Not having goals, not doing goals, but being-based goals. And that totally changed everything. So my goal specifically for dating, right? Because now I'm in a relationship. Before that, I was single for quite some time. It was to become an integrated man. And that's what today's conversation is going to be about. Becoming an integrated man. And in my opinion, that is the North Star that all of you guys should be aiming towards as well. Because what is an integrated man? I don't know if you guys have ever heard that term before, of being integrated. An integrated man is that can attract women without doing anything. He doesn't attract women through what he says. He doesn't even attract women through how he looks. He doesn't attract women through all this performance and all this showmanship. He attracts women through his presence, through his being, okay? Just through his existence. There's no trying, there's no chasing, there's no putting in a ton of work and thinking of the right thing to say or crafting the perfect text message or flirting with her very specific. He's just being. He's just being. And women are attracted to him, okay? Because there's a saying that who you are speaks so loud that people can't hear what you say. Yeah, they can't. When people see you, they see who you are. And that's so much louder than anything that you can do, anything that you can even wear, right? You can wear the most expensive watch, you could have a super nice car, you could have all these things, but if you yourself are needy, insecure, full of shame, full of insecurity, full of negativity, that's what people are experiencing when they're around you, okay? So that became my goal. And then based on that goal, all of the actions that I took were all focused on getting there. Now, why do you guys think it's so important to become integrated? Does anybody have any ideas? Why, above everything else, becoming an integrated man is the number one lever that you can pull to create your dream dating life, whatever that looks like? Why do you guys think that is? We have a joke that we run on recent Golden Interaction calls of the Halloween costume. Some of you guys have heard me say that, right? Mike hasn't been there for that. Yeah, so the Halloween costume is like the shell that you put on to hide what's inside, right? You put on a Halloween costume of like the powerful, grounded man, but then inside there's a bunch of shame and unworthiness. So being And embodying, becoming an integrated man is about not having a costume at all, not having a mask. Just your essence is what attracts women. Because look, guys, like I did it the other way around. Like I did it the way that I'm sure all of you guys have tried, through chasing and trying and forcing and doing. And like, did I get results? Like, fuck yeah, I got some pretty good results. But it wasn't with the type of girls that I wanted. There's a certain caliber of women that was just like way out of my reach. The girls that I got weren't sticking, and also they were full of a bunch of negative emotions themselves, right? So I was just attracting the same girl, but just in a different body, right? Anxious attachment style, or disorganized, just like dysregulated completely, not comfortable with herself. I didn't feel safe being around her, right? Super clingy, just bitchy, not the girls that I wanted, okay? So doing this work changed everything. It was the most important thing that I've done. Now, we're gonna talk in a second about how to actually become integrated, right? How to get there. But before I do that, let's talk about the cost of not being integrated, because I think it's really important for you guys to understand what is at stake, because there's a lot at fucking stake if you don't do this work, okay? You guys have to understand that as a man, it is your responsibility to be the absolute best, highest version of yourself possible. And when you are not taking full ownership over that, over your internal self, in healing, in integrating, and developing yourself, what you're doing is that you're not only harming yourself because you're getting uglier women than you could have gotten, you're getting more traumatized women than you could have gotten, you're having a much worse dating experience, much less enjoyable dating experience, a much less effective dating experience than you could have, much more toxic relationships than you could have had, or that you have. But more importantly, it's also super selfish because you then are having a ripple effect on everybody that you interact with, right? Your trauma is literally seeping out, right? That was my experience. It's like my insecurities were affecting the women that I was dating. I was giving them a worse experience. And if one day you guys plan on being parents as well, you're also having a massive impact on your kids because your kids absorb and they follow you. You lead by example. So if you're not integrated, you're literally dumping all of your stuff onto them. And I'm sure you guys are here because maybe you had that experience as a child yourself, is that you didn't have integrated parents. You had parents that were carrying years and years and years and years of generational trauma and baggage. So it's on you to say enough is enough and do the work, right? It's the truth. So it's not just about you. Right? Some of you guys might have joined our program because you're like, okay, I kind of selfishly want to improve my dating life. I want to attract higher quality women. I want to be able to approach. I want to be able to be more masculine, more confident, like all these different things that you wanted to do. But it's not just about you, right? Like you as a man are what everybody else looks at. It's like every person that you interact with in your day-to-day life is impacted by your level of integration or lack of integration. The servers that you interact with at restaurants, your parents, your distant family, your friends, everybody's affected by your being, right? Where you're at on that emotional scale. So it's very selfish. It's very selfish to be a people pleaser. It's very selfish to be full of shame. It's very selfish to be in your head. Extremely selfish. Right? Because it doesn't just affect you. So there's a lot at stake, guys. But on the bright side is if you do this work, it is the most important work that you can do. It's being level work. Everything changes, right? Your finances will change, your health will improve, you're gonna emanate a completely different energy, and obviously your relationships with women are gonna transform as well. And some of you guys have already seen that, right? We've got some people here that have been doing this work for a longer time, and they'll tell you, right? Looking back, like what that's looked like for them, the growth that has happened. So let's talk about how to actually become integrated. The way I see it is that there's kind of 3 pieces to this process. And the first one, you guys could write this down. The first one is obviously awareness, right? So awareness, but specifically awareness of your fragmented parts. Because the opposite of being integrated is being fragmented. It's being compartmentalized, right? You have this persona that you wear, you have that persona that you put on, then you've got all this shame over here on this side, you've got this anxiety over here. So it's like that, it's just being fragmented. So it's becoming aware of all your fragmented parts and how they show up specifically in dating. And that's why we do golden interaction training, is because it's a vehicle to allow you guys to see your fragmented parts that normally you wouldn't see, right? We make it plain as day. You talk to an attractive girl, you have all the stuff that comes up, right? You don't know what to say, your face gets tense, your shoulders get tense, you stutter, like all of that is just deeper stuff that's happening. So specifically, these fragmented parts are subconscious patterns, okay? Subconscious patterns. And subconscious patterns have a couple components to them. You have the actual belief that's driving the pattern. Then you have the emotions around that pattern. Then you have the physical impulses, right? So how does the body get affected? Because all these patterns, they run through the body. And then you have the actual behaviors that you fall into. Okay? So I'll give you guys a good example, right? Like one example is, let's say I don't deserve a certain type of girl, right? I don't believe like I'm worthy of a certain type of girl. That's a limiting belief that you adopted at some point through your life. Could be through high school, through middle school, in childhood, wherever you pick that up. That then will have a certain emotion that's connected to it, right? You'll have an emotion maybe of shame, of inadequacy in your stomach, for example. And then that emotion is going to cause a certain physical sensation. So you'll have like a tightening of the stomach, or you'll have for example, something in your throat where your throat gets really like tight and constricted. And then what that will do is that is then going to block you from being your authentic self. So it's like this entity that literally like possesses you when you're talking to women that is not you. It is a pattern, it is a fragmented part that like takes over your whole being. So becoming aware of that entity is the first step. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? Cool. Number 2 is you have to surrender to it. You have to surrender to it, you have to accept it, and you have to process the emotions behind that pattern. You don't get over the pattern by fighting it. You don't get over the pattern by resisting it, as you guys know. We've talked about this. You get past it by processing it. And the way to process it, there's a couple ways, right? So the main way that we've worked on so far is emotional awareness, is feeling the feelings behind the pattern. If you can fully feel through all the feelings without blocking them, just letting them fully run their course, the pattern is going to get a lot lighter. Doesn't solve the core problem though, because there's another piece to it that we'll talk a lot about more tomorrow called reparenting. Reparenting. Okay, so reparenting is essentially you getting the positive opposite of what that pattern is, right? So if you don't feel worthy, you receiving a sense of delight. Like you are totally lovable just as you are, right? So you need both. You need the awareness to move that emotion, but you also need the love and the compassion from, we'll talk about more through this process of reparenting, or maybe even self-parenting. That's another variation of reparenting that can also help integrate that pattern, okay? It's a huge piece. The third part, and this is where things get really fun and exciting, and where they actually have the biggest effect on your dating life, is as you start to work through these different patterns in your body. Okay, because patterns, as I said, are in the body. They might be in the throat, they might be in the chest, they might be even in your dick, right, or in your pelvis, like sexual shame. you start to inhabit the body. Like you become at home in your body. A lot of people are not at home in their body. They live up in their head, like we talk about, right? And the rent up there is very expensive, is being up in your head. It's safe, it's comfortable, but there's a big cost that goes with being in your head, being disconnected from the body. So there's 4 main areas of your body that you want to begin to inhabit, as we say. So the first is the heart, the second is the belly, the third is your dick, and then the fourth is your legs. Now, keep in mind, guys, these 4 areas of the body, it's not random that I'm just talking about inhabiting this. These 4 areas all have a unique impact on your dating life. They all have a unique purpose. It's like a part of, if you guys have ever played a video game, right? Like there's parts of the video game that are grayed out. You don't even have access to them. The moment that you can unlock this, one of these parts of your body, you can inhabit it, you could get in there, you unlock a part of the map. There's a new territory that you haven't been able to explore prior. Let's say in your conversations with women, or a type of relationship that you're able to have, or a type of girl that you're able to attract, that now you have access to. So if some of you guys have been frustrated, you're like, fuck, like, why can't I get like that type of girl? Or why can't I have like this type of secure relationship? Like, why are all the girls that I attract, why are they all avoidant? Or why are they all super needy and insecure? Well, it's because part of the body is blocked, right? There are suppressed patterns in that part of the body. There's suppressed beliefs in there that are like attracting for those women. They're like a big billboard that's like, please come here. That's literally what's going on. So let's talk about each one, right? The heart. So the heart is responsible for connection and being able to like deeply attune to women and read them as well. This is a big thing, is most guys, when they're fully in their head, they can't even read women, right? You'll start attracting women that like don't actually want to be with you, that are taking advantage of you, that are just not good women for you because you can't read them. You can't attune to them. You can't feel their actual intentions in their own body. So you're way less effective. And part of that is also just like a lack of connection. Like you're not able to go as deep with women. Who here, for example, has felt like their connections with women were like kind of surface level most of their lives? Anybody felt that way? Yeah, I know what that feels like, right? It's like you connect at like a 2 out of 10, where you could be at a 10 out of 10. And I'm telling you guys, there's nothing that feels better than just like deep fucking heart connection, where you can like totally open up your heart. She can fully open up her heart and you guys just go deep. If you haven't experienced it, it's like you don't want to die without experiencing that. And to do that, you can't fake it. Like you need to actually do the work to work through all the pain, all the resistance, all the anger, all the resentment, all the mistrust in your heart, maybe all the apathy in your heart. Then you've got the belly, okay? Now the belly is a huge one too. And the belly, the purpose of the belly is it creates a sense of self-respect and self-trust as you're talking to women. So if you guys have ever had the issue of like, for example, not knowing what to say, like, what do I say? I'm lost. It's because you're not connected with your gut. How do you guys think I just know what to say? I'm connected with my gut. Because your gut is a second brain. It gives you this like infinite intelligence that is way beyond anything that the logical mind could do. So being in your gut is really powerful. It also allows you to set boundaries with women. So when a woman is being disrespectful, when she's poking at you, like you gotta set boundaries. And without boundaries, you get walked all over, right? So you have to be able to be connected with your gut. You can't set fake boundaries. Women could sniff through that. You can't act like a tough, masculine guy, but like inside be super internally broken and weak. Doesn't work. That's what I mean by doing. You have to actually be. The third energy, or the third part of your body that you have to start to inhabit is your dick, okay? And your dick allows you to penetrate women in your conversations with them. Without this, you're like a gay best friend, essentially. You're gonna be in the friend zone. They're not even gonna register you as a romantic option if you're not in your dick. Because you being in your dick makes them feel a certain experience that otherwise they wouldn't feel. And it goes beyond logic. And this is why a lot of guys that are like head-based, trying to use techniques and tactics, they get very, very, very sporadic results, usually with girls that are like drunk. The attraction that they're able to create, the impact that they're able to create is not that deep because they're not coming from their dick. They're not able to like fuck women as they talk to them with their energy. Okay? Leadership, being assertive, all of that comes from the dick. And then the last one is going to be legs. All right, so legs allows you to be safe, to be grounded. So, for example, a girl, which is going to happen, every girl is going to have her moods. She's going to have highs, she's going to have lows, she's going to test you, she's going to be bratty, she's going to be bitchy, she's going to be this and that. If you're not connected with your legs, you're just going to be like, ugh, just reacting, right? But if you're in your legs, you could create what's called a container. And then she can go through her mood and surrender to you. Right? Otherwise, you're going to be attracting women that are super masculine. If that's what you want, then that's fine, but maybe that's not what you want. So that's what we're going to work on today, guys. And just overall this weekend is becoming more integrated. That is the theme of this mastermind. So I'm excited for it.